So, there are three kind of different methods we can use when we start building our while loops. There are three ways we can form while loops. And again, I'll just quickly go over this first method using the symbols. So here you can see, I showed you this last lesson or the lesson before, my password system, where it says if password is equal to password123, print access granted, else print access denied. So if I go back over to create with code and show you this password checker, what I can begin to do is incorporate an attempt system, because at the moment if I run this and enter password and I get it wrong, I only get one attempt to enter my password. Now we know that's not how computers work. For example, on your iPhone, if you enter the passcode, I think it's 4 or 5 times incorrectly, it locks you out for a minute. So what we want to do is, using a while loop, is incorporate a sort of attempt system. So the while loop will let us attempt the password until we've reached the maximum amount of attempts. So we're going to be using a counter. So we can create a variable called maybe attempts instead of counter, because I've said that word so many times now it's lost all meaning. So attempts equals 1. So it's our first attempt. So then we'll need to create our while loop. So while attempt is less than or equal to 3, so it'll give us 3 attempts, then do something. Now remember, with conditionals we need to make sure that we indent everything inside of our statement. So you can see here that we now have everything indented correctly. Now remember, again, semicolon at the end to signify the end of the line. But again, we've got the same issue where we're not telling the computer when we've had an attempt. So what we need to do is, here we've said, well, if password equals ABCD1234, print access granted, else print access denied. So what we can do here is say attempt equals attempt plus 1. And then when we run this program, it should allow us to do that. Oh, I've misspelled my variable somewhere. Whoops, there we go. Line 6. See, even people who've been programming for ages don't always get it right. So let's enter the password incorrectly. Pass. So it's told me access denied. And now I've got an opportunity to have another go. Again, and incorrectly again. And the third and final time I get it wrong, it doesn't let me have another go because I've run out of attempts. So again, counters are really effective ways to create while loops in many different situations, to only allow the user so many attempts at something, or to count as the program is printing some content. So if I move back to the presentation, that was the first method. Let's have a look at the second. Yeah, here is the second. So the second method we can use is called not in. So we use this method often in relation to when we're using strings or text. So you can see here, and I'm not going to live demo this in Create with Code, lost my train of thought there, in Create with Code until next week, because next week you will be creating a simple quiz and you will more than likely use this method, so I'll demo this method next week. But for now I'll just give you a brief explanation. So what we're saying is, we're creating our variable menu choice, which allows the user to enter an option, and we're saying while menu choice not in. So while we're saying if any of these strings are not in this variable, we'll then make sure they enter the option again. So again, I'll go over this method in a lot more detail next week. I just wanted to know that this method exists for now. So the third and final method is what we call a Boolean loop. So this allows us to make sure that the while loop is either true or false. So we can make sure that, for example, while choice made is false, all of this program happens. So if I switch back over to Create with Code, Here we go. And I find my Boolean. So what I've done here is I've created a variable called choice made. Now what I can do is using Boolean. Now Boolean means either true or false. It can't have any other options. Boolean means true or false. So I can either type true in here or false. So if I run you through this program to show you how this works, by clicking run, we start off with the option to enter our order. Now remember, first choice made is equal false. So let's try entering an option that isn't allowed. So let's enter, I don't know, just put food and press OK. It tells me this is not an option, please enter an order again, and the loop goes back through. This is because at the moment choice made is still equal to false. Now the only way we can change that to true is if we make a choice. So let's make a choice. Let's say pizza. So when I enter pizza, the program is going to do two things. It's going to print pizza is a great choice and choice made equals true. So this while loop will stop working because choice made no longer is equal to false because choice made equals true. So if I click OK, it prints that statement and it no longer asks me to enter another option because it knows that I've entered a correct option and this while loop no longer works. It stops functioning because choice made is no longer equal to false. So that is the Boolean method of creating while loops. So what I want you to do now is complete task 3. Now, task 3 is a little bit more difficult. It requires you to use a little bit of independence, your own choice. So I'm going to give you the code that we created last week, where I asked you to ask the user about their favourite TV show, and it would give them different feedback depending on one of the 3 options they entered. So they could have entered Stranger Things, The Mandalorian, or WandaVision. What I want you to do is add a while loop to that program. So you could use any of those 3 methods that we just talked about to create this while loop. You could try method 2 if you're feeling a little bit more confident, and add a while loop to this program that keeps asking the user what their favourite TV show is until they enter one of the 3 options. So please pause the video here and have a go at this task. Again, I have given you the code. If you are struggling, I will provide an example if you unpause the video from here and give you a little bit more of a guided start. Okay, so if you've unpaused the video, it means you want a little bit more help with the program. So if I switch back over to create with code, and then move over to task 3, I think the method that would work best for the moment is the Boolean method. So what I'm going to do is create a variable, and I'm going to name this one maybe correct input. So correct input equals false. And then what I can do is create my while loop, while correct input equals false. Oops, sorry, not equals, equal to, remember equal to. And then remember you will then need to indent each of these options. And remember you need to indent the prints twice. So now at the moment, this program will keep functioning until something happens. So what we need to do is add an else. So if it's not one of these 3 options, we need to allow the user to input again. Now, this is where I'm going to stop, because while this program will work, at the moment it will get stuck in an infinite loop. What you need to do from here is add a way to tell the computer that the program has ended if they've entered one of the correct options. So think back to the menu demo I showed you and how I did that. I changed something from false to true. So from here, what I want you to do now is find a way to solve that issue and then continue with the video. So please pause here and have a go, and unpause when you've finished. Okay, so hopefully you've all had a good go at those tasks. So this is the end of the video. So what I want you to do now is, if you've finished all those tasks, please upload them to Teams. And if you've still got some time at the end of the lesson, please move on to the extension video where I go further into how we use nested if statements inside of while loops. Okay, so thanks for watching.